Biology-Coordination, the linking system part 4. In this video, we are going to study about peripheral nervous system. So let's get started. Students, what is peripheral nervous system? What is it composed of? Look at this picture. This is brain and this long cylindrical structure is spinal cord. These two constitute central nervous system. Now, apart from brain and spinal cord, everything that is present in nervous system is peripheral nervous system. So apart from brain and spinal cord, what does we have in nervous system? It is the nerves and ganglion present in the body. So the nerves and ganglion present outside central nervous system in the body is what is called as peripheral nervous system. Now let us know what is a nerve. Nerve is nothing but the bundle of axons. We know that nervous system is made up of specialized cells called neurons, and each neuron contains two important parts called cyton and axon. Axon is this long process. So axons of several neurons, they bundle up and form a structure called fascicle. Several fascicles, they bundle up and form a long cable-like structure called as nerve. So these are those cables. Got it? So nerves are nothing but the bundles of axons of neurons. Now what is ganglion? Look here, this is spinal cord and these are the nerves coming out. I told nerves have bumps here and there. So this is a bump over here and this bump is ganglion. If you take the cross section of ganglion and see inside, we find cell bodies are cytons. So cytons are these structures. So cluster of cytons, they form a bump and that bump is called as ganglion. So cluster of cytons, they make ganglions. Cluster of axons, they form long cables called as what? Nerves. So did you understand what are nerves and what are ganglion? So from this we can understand the nerves and ganglion that are present inside the body outside central nervous system make up peripheral nervous system. Got it? Now what is the role of peripheral nervous system? This system of nerves connect brain, spinal cord to the rest of the body and also to the external environment. They carry information from different parts to central nervous system and the commands from central nervous system to different parts. So they transmit information to and fro the central nervous system. That is the role of peripheral nervous system. Now how many nerves are there under peripheral nervous system? We have 12 pairs of nerves arising from brain and 31 pairs of nerves arising from spinal cord. So the nerves that are arising from brain are called as cranial nerves. So we have 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Nerves arising from spinal cord are called as spinal nerves. So we have 31 pairs. So altogether we have 43 major nerves in peripheral nervous system. Though I am seeing 43, you are seeing more than 43. You are seeing multitude of nerves. Those nerves are branches of the basic 43 nerves. Did you understand? So we have 43 main nerves that come under peripheral nervous system. So let us see cranial nerves first. Cranial nerves, they emerge out from the back of the brain as pairs. So see here, this is the back of the brain, and we can see here the nerves are arising as pairs. So this is the nerve number 1, olfactory nerve. It has a pair over here. Got it? So there are 12 such pairs of nerves that are arising from brain. We don't need to remember these names. They are out of scope. Just for the idea's sake, I am representing the names also, but no need of mugging the names. So we have 12 pairs of cranial nerves that are arise from back of the brain as pairs. These nerves transmit electrical signals between brain, face, neck and torso. Torso means trunk of our body, that is until pelvic region. Pelvic region ante nadumu varaku annamata. So they transmit information between these parts. And information is in the form of electrical signals. Why? Because brain cannot understand any other language. Brain can understand only electrical language. So that is the reason why the information through nervous system goes in the form of electrical signals. For instance, if our eye sees a tiger, if you see a tiger, that tiger information, that image information captured in eye is first converted into electrical signals at retina and then sent to brain, so that brain can understand, interpret that image as a tiger. Got it? Brain can understand only electrical language. Then the brain sends commands to our muscles to run away. And that command is in the form of electrical signal. Got it? So all the information transmission inside our body occurs in the form of electrical signals. That is what you have studied in sense organs chapter in class 9. Got it? So now the information is transmitted between these parts, and cranial nerves make us or help us taste, smell, sight, hear and feel sensations. They also help us facial expressions, blink our eyes and move our tongue, because these nerves are between these parts. They are between the parts of brain, head, neck and torso. So they help in these activities. Got it? It is logical, right? So that is about cranial nerves. Now coming to spinal nerves. These nerves, they emerge as pairs and connect the spinal cord with different parts of our body. Got it? So see here, this is spinal cord and nerves are arising as pairs. Of course it is not shown here, the pairs are not shown, but actually the nerves are present on either side. In humans there are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. 8 are cervical, so at the neck region we have 8 spinal nerves, and at the thoracic region we have 12 pairs of spinal nerves, and at lumbar region we have 5, sacral 5 and coccygeal 1. So totally 31 pairs of spinal nerves are present in our spinal cord. Got it? Now let us see how these nerves come out from spinal cord. So look at this picture. This is the transverse section of a spinal cord, and this is the dorsal side, that is back side, and this is front side. As I have already told you, unlike brain, the grey matter is at center and white matter is at periphery. Grey matter is nothing but cell bodies. White matter is nothing but axons. So cell bodies are at center and axons are at the periphery. If you see here, the grey matter is in the form of alphabet H. So these two arms of alphabet H are called as dorsal horns because they are on the dorsal side. These two arms are called as ventral horns because they are on ventral side. And at the horn regions, we see here, at all these 4 horn regions, the axons are coming out as bundles. And you know, bundles of axons are called as nerves. So 4 nerves are coming out. These nerves are called as roots, nerve roots. These 2 nerve roots are called as dorsal roots. These 2 nerve roots are called as ventral roots. And from each side, the dorsal root and ventral root, they join and come out as spinal nerve. See here, this is one spinal nerve, this is another spinal nerve. Likewise, the spinal nerves, they emerge out as pairs. Now got it? How the nerves are coming out? Each nerve has 2 roots, dorsal root and ventral root. And these roots, they arise from where? Dorsal horn and ventral horn. Did you understand how the spinal nerves are coming out? I hope you understood. The dorsal roots are composed of sensory axons or sensory fibers. So these two dorsal roots, they are made up of sensory fibers. So we can call them as sensory nerves. So these two dorsal roots can be called as sensory nerves. What is the function of sensory nerves? Sensory nerves bring messages from different parts towards spinal cord, and from spinal cord the information is sent to brain. Brain analyzes that information and sends commands again to spinal cord, and from spinal cord the motor nerves take that information to the body parts. And so where are motor nerves now? They are ventral roots. So ventral roots are composed of motor fibers or motor axons. So ventral roots are called as motor nerves, whereas dorsal roots are called as sensory nerves. Dorsal roots carry sensory messages inwards, ventral roots carry instructions to the muscles outwards. Got it? Now, because spinal nerves are carrying both sensory and motor axons inside, they are called as mixed nerves. So, all spinal nerves are mixed nerves because they have sensory as well as motor axons. They carry information inside and also they get motor instructions outside. So, they are called as mixed nerves. Whereas the cranial nerves, they are some of them are exclusively sensory, some of them are exclusively motor, and some are mixed nerves. Whereas spinal nerves, all spinal nerves are mixed nerves. Did you understand? Now let us know about this bump over here. This bump is called as dorsal root ganglion. I told already that ganglion means cluster of cell bodies, group of cell bodies, right? So we have group of cell bodies over here, and we know that dorsal root is having what fibers? Sensory fibers, means sensory neurons. So see the structure of sensory neuron. It has one cell body and two axons. So all the cell bodies of the sensory neurons, they cluster here and form dorsal root ganglion, and in both the directions they have axons. The axon from this side collects information and passes it to cell bodies, and then the information goes through this axon and then into ghrelin. Did you understand? So we have dorsal root ganglion here. But ganglion is not present this side because these are motor neurons which have only one cell body, right? The cell bodies are present inside gray matter. The axons, they are coming out for taking the motor information. Did you understand? So this is how the nerves emerge from spinal cord. Let us now understand how scientists came to know about the nature of dorsal root and ventral root with their experiments for the first time. In 19th century, there were two scientists with the names Charles Bell from Scotland and Francois Magendie from France. These two scientists, they have taken an experimental animal, and in that animal they have cut the dorsal roots of spinal cord at some region, and they found that the animal did not show any reaction. But when they touched the ventral roots, the muscles connected with that spinal nerve reacted violently. From these two observations, they have concluded that the dorsal root is carrying messages of sensation towards spinal cord. So that is the reason when dorsal root is cut, the messages of sensation did not reach spinal cord, so the animal did not react. Whereas when ventral roots are just touched, because they are carrying motor information to the muscles, they just reacted violently. Did you understand? So this is how scientists came to know the nature of dorsal and ventral roots with their experiments. Let us now move on to the divisions of peripheral nervous system. So there are two major divisions of peripheral nervous system. They are somatic nervous system and autonomous nervous system. The somatic nervous system is associated with the voluntary control of the body. So it includes all the nerves that are involved in voluntary actions, that is the actions which are in our conscious control, like walking, talking, reading, kicking the ball, etc. So these are all the actions that we can consciously do or consciously control. So such nerves which are associated with voluntary actions come under somatic nervous system. This is not much discussed in our textbook. Now coming to the next division, that is autonomous nervous system. This is associated with involuntary control. So this includes all the nerves that are involved in involuntary actions, that is the actions that are not in our conscious control. Examples are heartbeat, blood pressure, digestion, release of hormones, release of enzymes, etc. These are not in our control. For instance, if you have eaten an apple, digestion happens by itself. You can't say your stomach not to digest it or digest it after 2 days. You can't do it. Even you cannot say your heartbeat to stop beating for some time. You can't. So such actions, such activities are under the control of autonomous nervous system. This autonomous nervous system is further divided into two subdivisions. They are sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system includes the spinal nerves at cervical, thoracic and lumbar regions, and also ganglion that are present on either side of vertebral column. Look at this picture. This is sympathetic nervous system. See here, the nerves coming from cervical, thoracic and lumbar, they are making up sympathetic nervous system. And also I told the ganglion on either side of vertebral column. So these are the ganglion on one side. Same way this side also the ganglion are present. Ganglion and nerves are present. You know that the nerves are paired, right? So they are present on this side also. So the ganglion on either side of vertebral column and the nerves arising, spinal nerves arising from cervical, thoracic and lumbar, they make up sympathetic nervous system. Did you understand? Yes. So that is sympathetic nervous system. And what is parasympathetic nervous system? It includes spinal nerves at sacral region and cranial nerves from hindbrain. Also, the ganglion near the target organs. Target organs means the organs to which these nerves are going, taking information. Got it? So look at this picture. So parasympathetic nervous system includes the spinal nerves from sacral region and the nerves arising from hindbrain. So this is the hindbrain and these are the nerves. And it also includes the ganglion present near the target organs. See the ganglion, these bumps. These dots, they represent ganglion, and ganglion are at the target organs. But here the ganglion are on either side of vertebral column. Did you understand? Now, both these systems have the same function. They control involuntary actions of the body, but they get activated at different situations of our body. So what are those situations? When we are under stress, that may be physical or mental stress, or in any threatening situation or frightening situation, then sympathetic nervous system gets activated. So this system is called as fight or flight system. Now the parasympathetic nervous system gets activated when we are at comfortable position, that is when we are at relaxation. So we call this system as rest and digest system. Now let us understand what happens if sympathetic nervous system gets activated. For that, let us assume a fight or flight situation for yourself. Assume that you are going in a forest for trekking and you are enjoying the nature of beauty. Suddenly a tiger came on your way. Then what you have to do? You have to fly away if the tiger is far away. Or you have to fight with the tiger if it is very close. Under this situation, your sympathetic nervous system gets activated. This activation leads to a series of changes in your body which help you to fight or flight. Right? Let us see what are those changes. First thing is your pupil dilates so that more light can enter into your retina and you can have better vision of the place and can run away. So you know what is pupil. Pupil is this central region, this central black region of the iris, right? So this gets dilated and so that more light can enter and you can have better vision of the place. That is the first thing. Then your heart rate increases, heartbeat rate increases so that more blood can be pumped to your leg muscles to help them run away faster. Next it is airways. Airways means bronchi and bronchioles. These structures, they dilate. Dilate means they increase their diameter so as to suck more oxygen. When more oxygen is available, cellular respiration occurs at rapid rate and more energy is produced, right? So that we can fly away or run away. Next, it is sweat glands. Sweat glands secrete sweat to cool the body. As the cellular respiration is going on at higher rate, the body temperature increases. So to cool the body temperature, sweat glands produce sweat. Next it is liver. Inside liver, glycogen. Glycogen is what? It is a polymer of glucose. It is broken down to glucose to supply more glucose to your leg muscles so that glucose can be oxidized to produce energy. So more glucose is produced inside liver and that is released into blood. Next, it is adrenal glands. So these are the adrenal glands over kidneys. They produce a hormone called adrenaline. You know that adrenaline is called as fight or flight hormone. You have studied this in 8th class. So they produce a hormone which helps in fight or flight situation and that is adrenaline. Now there are other systems in our body like digestive system, reproductive system and urinary system. These systems, they have no role in fight or flight situation. They cannot help us in that situation. So their activity decreases. For instance, if you take digestion, you don't want to digest the food that you have taken that day during that very moment of fight or flight. Your aim is to run away, to get protected from the tiger, not to digest the food. So the digestive system activity decreases. And it is the same with reproductive system also. You don't want to produce the gametes and release. So the vagina contracts. Then urinary bladder. You don't want to release the urine at that very moment. You want to, so the urinary bladder relaxes. Got it? So these are the activities, these are the series of events that take place when sympathetic nervous system gets activated. Now let us see what happens when parasympathetic nervous system gets activated. This system gets activated when we are at a relaxed condition, when we are at a comfortable position. For instance, assume that you are taking rest at home, simply watching TV and having snacks. Then your parasympathetic nervous system gets activated. Now, what are the events that take place when it gets activated? First thing is your pupil contracts because you don't want more light to pass on to retina and disturb you and to have broader view, right? Next, the heart rate, it comes to normal pace because your muscles, none of your muscles need more blood as they are at rest. Then airways, they just contract and take oxygen at normal rate because you don't need extra oxygen that time. Then liver, it performs its normal activity. What is its normal activity? To release bile and help in digestion of the food. Then blood vessels, they contract. They don't need to dilate. As they dilate, they take more blood to different organs. So they just contract and carry normal quantity of blood, right? Then the other systems. These systems like digestive system, reproductive system and urinary system, they get activated because you are simply taking rest and you can go for digestion of the food. Then reproductive system, it may get activated, and urinary system, you can release urine at any time because you are simply taking rest. So this is how The sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems get activated and perform involuntary activities depending on the situation